from the short break. This is still during Kemcha. I'm here with Mrs. BINTU JALIA, the chairperson of Uganda Savings and Credit Cooperative Union. This is Women in Business on Smart 24 TV. We're always delighted to have you. Now, we have been discussing and talking about some of these issues that are happening. There's still a lot that happens, and sometimes for the woman in business, it is not as it is. It is not just talking about finances, the monies. It's all the little intricate social details, economic details, political details. How are all these related, and what can be done to make it better? There's a problem in the way we approach, and I even mentioned it, approach women empowerment. And I talked about it some time back with one of the feminist movements and said, is it because we approach it by force? Is it because we are saying now it is a time for women and you must do something about it and we want it now and there must be results? How are we approaching it, and is there a problem in the way that we are approaching it?
Partly, you know, when you are new in parliament, you may not be conversant and you may not know all the laws that are pending, that are affecting the society. So you need that exposure, you need a group of persons to introduce you to those gaps and challenges that are affecting the community. And I want to believe that possibly what has made some of these gender laws not passed and not be presented to Parliament is because our leaders have not got that glimpse of knowing what is pending. And that's where the civil society as another estate comes in, because they need to introduce some of these other gender policies and laws which are still pending to the members of Parliament. And they need to work with members of Parliament so that they give them the information on what is needed outside there. Because if you don't give that information to the members of Parliament, they will proceed with what is before them. And they may not know that there is an area, a gray area which needs to be passed as soon as possible. So the civil society, I want to urge them to work with the members of Parliament. I know there is Uganda Women Parliamentary Association. Work with them, introduce to them those other laws which are still pending, and give them information, carry out the research, the necessary research, so that they are armed to be able to push on the women agenda. That is very, very, very important, because I see myself some 20 years, 25 years ago, when I was still new in Parliament, I wouldn't even know that the government needed to withdraw taxes on sanitary wares. Until when I got exposed and I said, well, why can't government now remove the tax on sanitary wares? And you know, that helps a girl child to be able to remain in school and to be able to afford to buy sanitary ware. But if you are not exposed, if you don't get information, then you don't know. You think what you are handling is very important, and the community is appreciative. So we need to handle the gender agenda together, be able to share it and be able to push it forward. That's the most important thing I am seeing ahead as being something which is curtailing some of these policies. But also, the civil society is being there. We have the academia. The academia, you know, this research which we do, at times it brings out those areas which needs to be also attended to. So if the academia, if we can get some of those researches which have been done, the recommendations, let's share it with our members of Parliament, with our policy makers at different levels, so that they may be able to pick out those areas which we need to adopt, and which we think will help our people grow even more. So those are some of the things I feel we need to address, and also bringing on board our other partners, the male partners, Because if you don't bring the male partners on board and introduce them and get them appreciate really what you are advancing, then they will not take it as a serious policy, those big policies which you want to move as serious. Like when I was a member of parliament and I moved that the government during the income tax amendment bill, when I moved that we removed the tax on pads and the sanitary wares, the pampers for the children, at first people were wondering, what is this? But then I told them, when you produce a girl child, even a child, when you produce a child, immediately you produce a child, you start buying pampers. A girl child, when she makes 12 and she starts menstruating, you start buying the pads. When she's going to school, they ask you for 4 packets before the girl can be admitted. It's you, the father, who is even suffering with buying all that. And those pads have got taxes on them. And then, did you make a mistake to produce this Uganda? I mean, did God make a mistake to produce me as a woman? What mistake did I make to be a woman? So when I told them, and that's when everyone realized that, yes, be it you have a wife or your daughter, you have to buy those things, or you have to give them money. And that money, you must make sure there is tax on it. You have to pay even the tax to the government. Immediately somebody clocks 12 years, you continue paying taxes. Did you make a mistake to have this citizen? And the citizen who is going to contribute towards the development of the economy. So all the men were up now in arms. Actually, they supported the motion which I had moved, and we asked government, can you remove this tax? And then the tax was removed from sanitary wares. So you can see, if you bring our other brothers, the male gender, and they appreciate that this, what you are moving is going to assist the citizens in the entire country. They will be able to support and get this information, and they will be even the champion. Like when we were moving to stop female genital mutilation, it was championed by a man, a male MP, Dr. Chris Babyomus, was the mover of the bill. And for us now, we were just supporting. So, and he realized, because it has a lot of side effects, because this woman, when she conceives during delivery, she overbleeds. Some of them even pass on. Yeah, and it's you, the man, who suffer even to pay the medical bills, to look after the child because she's weak, you know, the sensitive parts are off, so you have to cater for the family. It's so hurting. So men said, no, we cannot allow this one to continue. We have to pass a law to make sure that we stop this practice, which is barbaric. So when you give them information, you bring them on board, you share with them, they will be able to champion the cause. So that might be also missing. And it has been missing, and it should be continuous education. Yeah.
Madam Bintu, thank you so much for clarifying on some of this, because we need to know, each person that is watching this has to understand the linkages between some of these things. You're talking about pads, yes? You're talking about the health concerns. But most of the people seem to think that once it is women in business, it is narrow. It is just get the woman, give her money, she should thrive. But however, when we talk about the health component that you talked about, we know that it's a health burden. If this woman is sick, if at all she has this cancer and there is no system for the routine pap smears, we know that she's going to get sick. She's going to fail to work. She's going to eat into her savings, yes? And there's going to be poverty coming in. If a young girl has not been able to be equipped, or a parent is not sensitized on how to equip a young girl with pads, she's going to maybe, in most cases, she's going to drop out of school, because this happens. She's going to drop out of school. When she drops out of school, there's a very higher incidence of teenage pregnancy. When that happens, then there's a higher disposition to cyclical poverty and generational poverty as well, but also the inability to actually develop and to prosper and to add value to self and others. I think it's very important that we understand that women in business is multidimensional. We look at a holistic perspective of women in business. And this is why we bring you amazing women such as Mrs. BINTU JALIA, who gives something comprehensive to talk about.
It's a progressive way of handling the issues. Because I remember here in MASINDI, you know, we have been having high girl child dropout rate in schools. And partly because of lack of these other, you know, like sanitary wares, the girl child has got only one knicker, and you expect that child, even when she makes 12, she's still having one knicker. She washes it every night. She has to dry it in a blanket, even when she's in her periods. I started a campaign of asking these men to at least a weekend in 3 months, a weekend to put it aside, a weekend where they go and take booze, to put it aside, and that money buy knickers for their daughters. You know, it was a new phenomenon, and everyone was saying, but what is she talking about? Then I would tell them, now, a bottle of beer is at 3,000. You are going to take 2 bottles of beer, one on Saturday, another one on Sunday. That is 6,000. But a knicker costs 2,500 for that girl child who is in P5, who is in P6. If you put aside just one weekend in 3 months, those are like 2 to 3 knickers for that season, actually, which may take her even up to the end of the year. You will have helped to a great extent for this girl child to remain at school, not to be able to fear going, because when you wash that one knicker, if it doesn't dry very well, then you have the markings on your dress, and then the child abandons school. So when I kept on talking to the men, you get a congregation, I talk about it boldly and making sure that everyone listens to it. There is nothing like fearing that, oh, people don't talk about those private things inside the skirt thing. No, you tell them openly. Men started appreciating. And today in MASINDI, when you talk about sanitary wares, it's the fathers who rush very fast to buy those sanitary wares. Yes, pads. And me, this pampering the name that sanitary wears, no pads. Mine, I would go and talk to them, be it at an rally, be it at a celebration, I would mention it a pad. And your daughter is going to menstruate. Even me, I menstruate. And that's how God created us. So it became part and parcel, and they started appreciating, yes, we need to prepare for our daughters. And when you talk about it, nobody fears now. It used to be like, who will talk about menstruation of the girl child, who will talk about the pads, who will talk about the knickers. But these are, these are some of the things which are going to help this girl child to be able to stay in school. If you don't provide them, then she will drop out. She will get somebody who will take her, and immediately she feels embarrassed at school, but here she gets somebody who will take her, and that will be the end. But now it's discussed freely, and people appreciate that, yes, we have to plan. And it's the fathers now actually who plan even more than the mothers. The girls feel free. I would go and tell even the girls at their schools, you tell your fathers. So they would go and talk to the fathers. The fathers, you need these ones. Some of them actually came to confess to me that they asked their daughters, hey, where are the pads? You have not included them on your list. You include them. How many panties do you have? I have 2. Oh, include another one. You know, you are changing the mindset and people to appreciate that I have to help my child to be able to remain in school. So it's a progressive way of handling things. You know where we are coming from. If there is nobody who will tell them the truth and inform them and give them the information and the effect, then you don't expect them to change. Yeah. But if all of us can progressively keep on giving them information, taking them through information which is positive. We are not saying we are fighting anybody. We are saying all of us have to be there and all of us have to survive. When a woman goes to school, a girl child goes to school, finishes her education, actually the first beneficiaries, they are those ones from her family. Her family. Actually, it's so funny. When the girl finishes her education, she gets employed. She will look after her parents and this other family. The boy also, when he finishes school, will look after his family and then the woman's family. So all of us benefit, and that's what we should really try to push for the society to appreciate. Yeah, it's not that it should be me alone, no. But should cut across, and everyone should be able to see the benefits that come with somebody remaining in school. Now look at this woman whom you've married and who didn't go to school. And they are saying, you give a balanced diet to the child. The child is malnourished. Now, doesn't know what you are talking about. Who is going to be the loser? Who is going to be the loser? All of us are going to be the loser. We may lose the child, or the child may get other diseases arising out of not getting proper feeding, and yet even the food which is supposed to be given to the child is within the principles of the homestead. So we need to really to encourage everybody to take on the mantle of educating, and that will help us, especially in addressing some of those challenges. And that goes back to even the policies, because if you don't provide information to all the stakeholders, then you will not get the laws passing through.
We also know that you're very keen on cooperatives. You are also active in cooperatives. Very passionate chairperson. You are literally championing the work of cooperatives right now. We want to find out, how are the saving strategies being employed? Is it just small? We start small? Because it started up, cooperatives then took a nosedive, then it's coming back with such strength. What is happening in the cooperatives, that side?
I chair the Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union, and we are out there to encourage everyone to take on the savings and credit as one of the key drivers of development in Uganda. And we are happy that among the circles which we have, most of them are all inclusive. And our focus has been on inclusivity, that let's not leave anybody outside the saving and credit culture. Let's get everyone to embrace saving and credit. And when we generate the resources internally, it helps us, because one, when you save and those who want to borrow at a certain minimum interest, the interest remains within that circle, within your society, and it's yours, and you'll be the ones to share. You don't, your resources, you don't give it to a foreign person who will take it as interest. So you are growing yourselves, you benefit yourselves, you manage your savings yourselves, and you use the savings yourselves, and this one helps you in growing. And we are now, of recent, we are pushing for climate change mitigation, the green financing, because of the challenges that now the country and the world is facing of climate change. So we have gone ahead even to encourage all the circles, especially those who are within our union of Uganda savings and credit union to be able to introduce products which will focus on climate change, and even the finances that are given should be able to address partly the climate change mitigation component. And we're encouraging, if you are having a green financing product, at least let it be, the interest, let it be a bit lower than the other financing product. How? If the circle is borrowing, or somebody is borrowing to go and start a cook stove, the energy saving cook stove, then that person, the interest rate, let it be a bit lower. If somebody is borrowing to go and plant intercrop with the trees with the crops, then let the interest be lower. We have also gone ahead to introduce a component. If somebody is going, whoever borrows, that person should be asked to plant at least a tree. Every person who borrows should be able to plant a tree. You can imagine how many trees we are going to have. And some of these challenges that we have been facing, actually we are going to address them through the savings and credit cooperative societies and cooperative as in general. Because the cooperatives, we are many. In Uganda, we are more than 3/4 of the population. Their members are in cooperatives. Even yourself, you might be in a cooperative, or even your parents might be in cooperatives, or even your relatives, your friends. And we are saying, let's embrace this green financing, and it will help us in the future to be able to mitigate the issues of climate change. But I want to urge all those who are out there. I know savings and credit, mainly it has been women who have been in savings and credit, bringing together their 500 shillings, to putting together, lending each other at a minimum interest rate, then they borrow, they pay back. Now it has grown, everyone is on board. I want to encourage you that let's get now the youth on board. Let's involve the youth into the saving and credit society. And not only the youth, we are saying, let's now go to schools, those young people in schools, because they need to start preparing for their retirement when they are still young. The funny thing with us in Africa, we prepare our retirement when we're already in retirement. 1 year to retirement, you are running to prepare for retirement. But those other developed countries, they start preparing for retirement when they are still young. So let's interest and encourage our young children right from primary that they should start a saving culture of the little they get. And at Ukusku, the union which I head, we have introduced it, we have started encouraging, moving through the schools, primary schools, introducing a saving culture and encouraging them to start saving at that young age, so that by the time they get to secondary school, to the university, outside, they should be able to be having capital which they can put into use. So let's encourage our children, and these children, let's not take them for granted, because these children, when you give them pocket money to buy mandazi or kabalagala or what, you know, some of them keep, and they start lending each other, which we don't know with the parent. By the time the child comes back home, the child has got some money which is saved. That money is really important to the child. So they should be encouraged to continuously start saving. And I'm happy that most parents are encouraging their children to save. Let's move on with that. I want to thank you and wish you the best until we meet. Thank you very much.
Please, whenever we bring amazing women like this, please listen. Listen, let's pick up something new. Let us learn something new. Let's do something about it. But also let's be aware of what we are doing in our own lives. What are your minds? What's your mindset? What is your attitude? Are you saving? Are you able to save? Why aren't you able to save? Are you able to invest? Do you have a growth mindset? Do you know that, okay, fine, I have my restaurant like our guest talked about, but I know I have to move on to the next stage? Are you aware that by the time you get to that particular stage, you must have systems put in place? Is it registered? Do you have other partners? Do you know what they need? Can you work on some of these things? Because when we bring these different guests onto this show, we want to make your life better as women. This has been Doreen Kemcha, Women in Business. We are always delighted to have you, Smart 24 TV. And thank you so much, our dear, lovely Mrs. Bintu. We are going to keep tracking whatever is happening in Masindi. We're going to keep tracking whatever is happening within the cooperative union. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with us again. Until next time, we meet again. This has been Doreen Kemcha, Women in Business on Smart 24 TV.